And so if you tell young men, look, you're going to find the meaning in your life by adopting maximal responsibility, right? That's going to be extremely difficult because you're so bloody useless. You can't even get your own house in order. And you're going to be called upon not only to get your house in order, but to do that well enough so some woman can stand having you around for more than like 15 minutes in the back of a car. And then maybe you're going to have to do it so that you could be a good father to a family and a pillar of the community. And that's not just empty words. Like, if you do that nobly, there'll be something to you. And then when the storms come, you won't be blown over by the first 4-foot wave. And young men think, you mean I could be something that wasn't blown over by the first 4-foot wave? I think, oh, well, that's inspiring.
Give a man a purpose and the ability to achieve it, and he will crawl over broken glass with a smile. And I think that feeling capable and powerful and competent and respected and admired is something that will get a man so far. You give a man those things and he'll deal with suffering until the ends of the earth. We're designed to do that. We're designed to suffer. We're designed to deal with that suffering, but it needs to be in service of something.
I know that until you make a decision that you no longer want to feel how you feel, or you no longer want to think the way that you think, or you no longer want to have the kind of results or no results that you have, until you make that decision that, you know what, I know I don't feel great, I know I doubt myself, I know I've had a lot of bad things happen, I know there's a lot that I regret, but damn it, with the time that I have left in my life, I really want to start to enjoy myself. I want to take better care of myself. I want to feel happy. You don't even have to believe you deserve it yet. You can just want it. You've got to start there. You've got to start with wanting something better for yourself. And then I personally think the most important thing is to start acting like the person who has the things that you want right now, even though you don't feel like it.
If you think about, like, people understand video games. So it's like, if you're playing a video game and the way to win the game was to make the most successful character, right? You would have probably a really character-driven human being in terms of, like, they'd be patient, they'd be hardworking. Like, you think about all these traits that they would have, right? They'd probably be tough emotionally, like, etc. All right, cool. That's the character. And that's the person who's going to be really successful. We can all probably agree on that. Okay, how do you create someone who's patient? How do you create someone who's tough? How do you create someone who, right? So all of a sudden, if we had to then engineer the game in order to boost those points, we'd have to get them beat up a lot so that they could get tough. We'd have to make them wait a long time so they could become patient.
That's right.
And so, to the point that you made about, like, these people who become really successful have these traits and also share the fact that they've been through all this shit. It's like, well, they got the trait from the shit, and then the trait was the ultimate output of the experience, and that trait then made them super successful that they didn't have earlier.
I want to see people win. I want to see people win. And if we can continue to find real examples of supporting one another, especially within our culture, we can really define moments where, like, we're helping to elevate, amplify. That shit is contagious. After a while, you got no choice but to follow suit.
If you go visit the darkness that you've been running from, you'll have the opportunity to leave a better person. You'll have a better understanding of yourself. You'll have a better understanding of your purpose. But if you don't take that trip and the darkness comes visits you, it's a guest that will never leave.
If you see that you have an empty calendar, most people assume that if someone asks you for that time, it's therefore theirs. And it's only not theirs when someone else has claimed it, which means that your time only belongs to other people. And then you're surprised by the fact that your investment of time has yielded nothing for you when you've given the only and most valuable asset that you have to everyone else, who often give a very poor return on it for you. And so in the beginning, if you don't have money, the only thing you have is time. And so that is the only thing it's the only currency you can spend to improve yourself or get closer to your goals. And so if that's the one currency you have, then why on earth would you give it away?
So if you're in the woods and you don't know where to go, start walking. You got to start walking because the perspective's not going to change. You have to start moving forward. You have to start taking steps in order to improve your vision, improve your perspective, change your perspective, make some kind of progress. And worst case scenario, you figure out that you walked the wrong direction. Okay, now you can go walk in the other direction. And that's going to be fine. But standing there lost and not doing anything is just waiting to die, waiting to starve to death. Don't let that happen.
Well, sometimes that's what a person needs. Something that they can dedicate themselves towards, because they don't feel like they have anything and there's no direction. They don't know what to do, and that old expression, idle hands are the devil's playground, that's real.
That's real.
That's real.
That's very real.
Yeah. If you don't have a purpose in life, you don't have a direction that you feel like you should be going in, you feel so lost. And you can get sucked into all kinds of things. And you're filled with anxiety, and so then you escape with drugs. You're trying to find something to make you feel better because you just don't feel good and you feel like a loser. The only thing that makes you feel good is accomplishing things, having a family, having loved ones, having friends, having a community, but accomplishing things too. All those are the only things that make you feel better in life.
Gratitude is one of the most overlooked and key principles to your success. If your goal is to be a millionaire and you start out making $20,000 a year, and then God gets you to 50, but you mad because you ain't a millionaire. Well, hold up, man. Do you not remember that just a minute ago you didn't have but 20? So you got to show gratitude for the 50. Then somehow, by the grace of God, you get to 150. It's people making 150 who used to be dead broke, mad because they not a millionaire. Hold up, partner. Do you remember when you was just making the 50? Now you done triple that, and you gotta understand that there's joy in the journey. So if you don't show the proper amount of gratitude, you're never gonna be happy, you're never gonna be content, and after a while, man, God gonna get tired of you.
I think that's a lot of the discontent that people suffer from, is they want two things that are polar opposites. They want the really strong character, they want the easy life. One is the price of the other. You have a hard life to have great character. You have an easy life. You have shitty character. Everything came easy. You want to grow. You don't want hardship. Hardship creates growth. And so they want both, and you can't. It's wanting the Jordans without paying the price. And the price isn't bad. It's just the price is what it is. And so it's just, do you want the Jordans or not? And if you do, then don't lament the price tag. Pay the price tag and be happy you have the Jordans. And if you don't want the Jordans, then don't buy them.
Be careful who you share good news with. That's a good one, because you want to share good news with people who are going to be genuinely happy for you. And that's one way that you can identify those people who are truly on your side. There was a corollary to that, which was be careful who you share bad news with, because that's equally tricky. You want someone who will listen to you when you're having trouble and allow you your grief, especially if it's a consequence of something tragic, and who won't try to one-up you, because often when you're talking to people, they'll be thinking about what they have to say that's worse, and that's not helpful if you need.
You got to want it first. Then you got to work it. Then you have the opportunity to win it. But it all starts with your want. You got to want this. I can't want this for you. You got to want this like no other. Then the work has to happen. And see, the work and the want got to add up together to want each other. Then that puts you in a position to win. Ain't nobody giving you no W. You got to go take that thing, man.
Your time is limited, so don't waste it living someone else's life. Don't be trapped by dogma, which is living with the results of other people's thinking. Don't let the noise of others' opinions drown out your own inner voice. And most important, have the courage to follow your heart and intuition. They somehow already know what you truly want to become. Everything else is secondary.
I hate negative people. If you're negative, you got to get away from me. And there are people that come negative, because that's just what they've been raised, but they're skilled. And it hasn't worked out because of that. It's just like you just lead with negative first. If the first thing, if I have an idea, the first thing you want to talk about is the problems with it, then we got an issue. There's a time to talk about problems, but not while I'm dreaming.
When you really want something, you're going to find a way, ultimately. And it might not be today or next year or 5 years or 10 years, but this thing takes priority and precedent over all other things. when you don't want something as much as you think you do, of course, bro. Just like you said, don't nobody want to live a hard life. We all want to make life easy for ourselves, for our families, for our mothers, boom, boom. That's amazing. And the thought of that is amazing. But the desire for that doesn't always match. Sometimes your desire might not be enough fuel. You got to have a strong desire. And when you have a strong desire, that shit outweighs all other shit, the distractions.
Success is the only revenge. It's not the ultimate revenge. It's the only fucking revenge. The path that you're on, that you're trying to create, you getting to that point where it's undeniable that you have achieved that, to where every single human being that has ever fucked with you whatsoever, that thought, there's no way, it's not gonna happen. There's no way they're gonna do that. Which, by the way, I've been told all of it my whole fucking life. I don't have to say a motherfucking word anymore. I don't have to say anything. I don't have to talk shit. I don't have to say, hey, watch what I do, or this is day one, or wait until you see me. Motherfuckers just know. They know, okay? And because they know, and because that story is undeniable, other people that come from the same fucking hood I came from over here in South St. Louis, those people look at that and they say, fuck, dude, if that dude did it, I can fucking do it. And that's the whole point.
I think that if you look at any man who's very good at being a man, most of them have had extremely traumatic lives. Yeah. If you're going to talk about the most brave man you can think of, he's been through trauma. If you think of the best soldier you can think of, he's been through trauma. You think about anything, the man who's going to charge into the burning building, the fireman, he's been through trauma. If you find a man who's never had any traumatic experiences, he's terrible at being a man. Yeah. He's weak and he's soft and he'll collapse and he's never struggled. I know me, and I don't want to tell a bunch of stories on the internet, but I know all the shit I went through and all the pain I had to suffer to become the man I am. And every time I meet another guy who has his life in order, it's the same story. This fucked me up, but I thought, fuck it, I'm going to attack the world anyway. Yeah. And that's how it goes. So as a man, you're right. You're right. You have to be vulnerable. You have to feel it. You have to accept it, but you have to put it in a positive direction. This is what's so dangerous about what we were saying earlier, where people make excuses and externalize because they're taking that trauma and that pain instead of going, I fucked up. She left me because I wasn't good enough. I'm going to become better. Instead, she is the problem. Like it's there. And then they lose their ability to go and become something. They lose their own motivational force. And then they sit there with a fucking ego and arrogance and go, I don't need to become any better. I can stay a jackass. It's all her fault. I'll find another one. And then it happens on repeat. And it just ends up a downward cycle of dumb shit.
If I have unbelievable big dreams and big goals, then I have to go through hard times. It's like hate. The hard times are a requisite for success. And so if you're going through hard times right now, it means that you're on the path to success. And it's not that you're on the wrong path. It's the feeling of being on the right path.
We make decisions with feelings. 95% of our decisions are made by how you feel in the moment. And that is the problem. You need to take control of the moment and leverage the power of your decisions and make them up here. Because when I was lying in bed, I wasn't saying to myself, I should get up because that's going to help me start my day right. I was saying, do I feel like getting up?
No, you don't.
No. Do you feel like making that cold call? No, you don't. Do you feel like doing that third set of reps? No, you don't. Do you feel like having that hard conversation? No, you don't. Do you feel like ending this relationship, whether it's in business or in your life, that is sucking you dry? No, you don't. We make decisions based on our feelings, and that is robbing you of joy and opportunity.
Never consider yourself dumb. All right? When you don't succeed at something, you can't figure out, you're not dumb. You're not interested. You're uninterested. You're not interested in what you're doing. Something doesn't capture your attention. So people automatically, teachers and other educators say, oh, this individual is dumb because they can't figure this out. Well, think about all the things that you are interested in and how quickly you learn those things. Yeah. All right. A dumb person, no matter what you put out of them, even if they're interested, they can't figure that out. So never let anyone, including yourself, so this is the last time I want you to ever think of yourself as dumb. They just couldn't find what you were interested in. If they were able to find what you were interested in, you would have never used that terminology again. That's the difference. You found what you were interested in, and look where it's brought.
If you have something on your to-do list or you have a goal that you had set out to achieve, and for whatever reason, you're not taking action on it, go in the bathroom, look yourself in the eyes in the mirror, and ask yourself what you're afraid of. What's going to come back is something that you don't know. you're uncertain about something, just like a scary movie. That's what's stopping you from taking action. So if you can go and get the competencies like you did, shine a light on it, and understand how to navigate through it, then all of a sudden your confidence goes up. But really, you just know what you need to do, and you understand what needs to be done to hit that goal. And then magically you take action. I think a lot of life is like that. A lot of it.
So motivation isn't what we are relying on. And we can't rely on motivation because, like I said, if you and I got to get in the water to go conduct an operation, the motivation to do that will be zero, might even be -9, might be -12, might be -1,000. And you know what? Doesn't matter. You and I are going to go do what we have to do. You have to train yourself. You have to train the soldier in your mind to obey those direct orders when they come. And that is the foundation of discipline. I'm scared, I'm afraid, I'm nervous, I'm hesitant, I'm not sure if I want to do this, I'm second guessing, all those little things. They're just overridden by one thing and one thing only, discipline. And that's what it's going to take.
I think the definition of greatness is to inspire the people next to you. I think that's what greatness is or should be. It's not something that lives and dies with one person. It's how can you inspire a person to then in turn inspire another person that then inspires another person. And that's how you create something that I think lasts forever. And I think that's our challenge as people, is to figure out how our story can impact others and motivate them in a way to create their own greatness.